If I have a partner to date, I would think about how we can creatively make the date more affordable.
Any example?
Going to the beach, to me, that's free lah. And
So this is a tip for your future suitors.
and this is what happens, that maybe the... What? Okay, I got caught off guard, okay?
Welcome to another episode of I Feel Fine.
Really? So in the last episode, we went straight to the game and there are comments saying that they like to get to know us. So let me introduce myself. My name is Jenny Faith and I'm a writer.
I'm Janine. I'm interested in mental health and normalizing having conversations around it.
Today we're going to talk about something that we feel might impact mental health. And I'm not talking about Chinese New Year, even though you see decorations here, even though I know sometimes Chinese New Year could affect some people's mental health. That's a topic for another day. But something else on the streets people have been talking about. It's a 3-syllable word. Can you guess? I give you 1, 2, 3 seconds and not Janine.
Inflation.
Yeah, we're not talking about anybody's ego here, but inflation as in the price of goods and services have been increased recently globally and also in Singapore. Do you think mental health is impacted during this time when there's inflation?
Most definitely. A lot of people, including myself, would be feeling anxious and uncertain about the future.
Yeah, I do feel anxious as well. Even if it's just like a few cents or $1 or so, but it adds up. Like every day, I could make like 5 purchases, like transport, food and all that. And every time I see like a little increase, I feel an end bite of anxiety nibbling in my mind, but maybe a cockroach bite for others, I don't know. So basically it adds up and I can understand that, there's anxiety seeing prices increase in whenever you purchase something now.
Yeah, for sure, it really impacts all of us. Buying tidbits in a mini mart, I'm waiting for the change and she says that $10 is not even enough. I have to top up a few more dollars.
I really like the word mini-mart. Being a writer, I just, have a love for words and the word mini-mart is so adorable, right? Don't you think so?
Yeah, it's a very a cute
term. Like a cute term and it's so Singaporean. Yeah, in Singapore we have this GST thing that has increased in the year 2023, even though it's 1%, I think we all know it adds up, plus the inflation. So I can totally understand how it can impact my mental health. Like, if you have any similar sentiments as me, please leave in the comments and know that I'm not alone in that it kind of affects my mental health.
For sure. Dental clinic has texted me, prices increased from January 2023. I did think of rushing down in December to, get my teeth done, but then
I would do my regular checkup as soon as possible, but I guess there's only so many times we can go for our regular teeth checkup as well, so...
And then insurance premiums informing me that they'll take into account the GST hike.
I have this renewal of subscription that the service provider actually nicely reminded me that to pay my bill last year, because if I do not, he has to reissue an invoice that will include the new GST increase. It really affects everyone and in everybody's minds.
According to a youth survey 2022 done by Today newspaper, the cost of living in Singapore is foremost in the minds of young people who report mental health struggles.
Oh wow, that's really serious.
They talked about 5 areas, which was groceries, healthcare, food at hawker centres, coffee shops and restaurants, utilities, and housing and renovation.
Yeah, bingo. That sounds like everything that I think about, except house renovations because I'm not in the stage yet. But other than that, the rest of the list, I really do think about it. In Singapore, food is really important to us, so I can imagine. And I remember there was a shortage of chicken around last year. Is it last year? And there were stallholders who were standing on ladders of chairs to update the prices on their menus. But then now it's not only those who sell chicken, but everywhere. That you can see a new sticker and they're printing a new menu, and it's just increasing everywhere.
I read that wage growth isn't keeping up with inflation, meaning that even if we earn more money, it still will be offset by the inflation and we actually are earning less.
Okay, I'm really having mixed feelings about this because it's sad our wages are not increased with the inflation. But I do feel comforted that I thought I'm the only one, I can understand the anxiety of inflation because I think it's we are thinking it will increase until what percentage, It seems like we don't even know, or at least I don't know, I'm not an economist. When there's unknown, there's uncertainties, that's where I think too much about it, ruminate, or just think about it multiple times. And I guess when the survival mode kicks in, at least for myself, and then start thinking about solutions. I feel that there's a portion of it that's out of my control. Yeah, I can't control the inflation rate and the increase, but I also start thinking about what areas I can control. And I do look at things like budgeting, and I relook at my expenses, my subscription fees. Are there any that I can cut? Are there any that I can downgrade, so-called, but still feel like satisfied and happy about it? I realize that perhaps I can only do what is within my control. I'm a person of faith, so I'm just going to say I leave the rest to God. Yeah, I mean, it's not only about inflation, but generally, it's not easy, but whatever I can't control, I literally pray and then just leave the rest to God. But coming back to inflation, those that I can control, I would do what I can.
I mean, looks like we all have to get more creative. My way is to find inexpensive hobbies or even free ones. So that includes taking nature walks, relaxing at the beach, or journaling my thoughts and feelings, or gratitude journaling, or doing stretches on a mat to loosen up my muscles. These are relatively accessible to everyone and doesn't have to cost.
Unless your stretches are in classes, then you have to pay for the classes. If not, I guess YouTube as well.
Yeah, you can watch YouTube videos.
Yeah, but I mean, those activities that I mentioned, they are, although free, they are great. But I still have some hobbies that still require a bit of cost, and I'll look at it, and I think I'll try not to feel guilty going for it.
I also read in another article published by the UK Parliament House of Commons Library. It said that the effect of increasing living costs is not limited to anxiety over what someone can afford. It can lead to decisions such as limiting socialisation, or overworking, or cutting back on meaningful activities such as going to the gym.
I haven't read this article, but hearing it makes sense. I'm self-employed, I'm freelance, so I myself have been thinking, like, is there a way to have more job opportunities and work projects? Like, start thinking about that. But as well, at the same time, being a writer, being an artist, there are certain projects that we are not really paid, but I still feel the purpose and meaning to do it, and I still do it anyway. So not a hint or anything, but this podcast is also self-funded. So if you like the podcast, you can consider giving a donation. The link is just there. Yeah, but other than that, I'm just being real, saying that a lot of us artists, not talking about very, very famous celebrities, but artists in general have to do something first and not be paid for it. Imagine a painting, unless you're commissioned, but if not, there are times that we paint it first and then hoping it sells. I think the anxiety for certain jobs might even be greater, those that do not have a regular income, self-employed or freelance like me. We also start thinking how can we beat the inflation rate and getting more projects. But I must say that, hearing about this overworking and all that, it makes me think about my mental health. It's easy to just go into this survival mode and say, okay, there's inflation, there's a GST increase, how am I going to make more money? But I realized that if I really overworked and sacrificed my mental health, I might not be as productive if my mental health suffers.
Totally. That same UK article also highlighted that financial stress doesn't just affect mental health. Mental health issues can also contribute to financial stress.
It feels like a cycle.
Yeah. For example, when someone is unable to work at a capacity commensurate with their job qualifications, or are unable to work at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's really sad. Not able to work at all and still have inflation. Imagine what if the person is not able to get out of bed, seeing the world go by and seeing the bills pile and seeing the inflation increase, and yet not able to work. My heart really goes out to them. Yes, inflation hits everyone, but now that you mentioned this, I think those who are marginalized or already struggling with cost of living might get even a harder hit.
It hits people with mental health struggles particularly acutely.
It's really sad, but I guess I don't really have the answer or know what to say, but I think we're all in this together, and I hope you'll be able to find the resources, maybe seek government services or agencies. And if you know someone who is going through a really hard time, your family or friends, and if you're able to have the capacity, reach out to them during this period, being present for someone, being a listening ear, or even help out with tasks, like buying groceries if they don't have the health to work. I mean, sometimes they may not even have the health to do tasks. Help can come in many forms. And when I was in a very down period of my life, I really appreciated every help I can get from my family and friends, be it a word of encouragement, be it practical help.
That's really touching.
So, I mean, it's difficult times for us now, harder for some. I would definitely like acknowledge it and really feel very sad and about it.
I think the audience out there can feel your empathy and your compassion, and I think that really goes a long way.
I wish I can do more. Yeah, but like for now, I hope this podcast is
It's helping us all feel less alone.
Yeah.
According to psychologists interviewed by Today newspaper, with inflation reducing our spending power, young people may feel they cannot do what they want to do in social, in work, in educational settings, or even dating.
Dating, yeah, I can totally understand that, I can think about how it adds up, like food, activities, transport. If I have a partner to date, I would think about how we can creatively make the date more affordable and do a bit of budgeting.
It's about genuine connections, right? Like maybe it's not so much the activity or spending so much money on that particular experience.
Yeah, the keyword I think is not so much, but I think there's still I can acknowledge that there's the element of how an activity or like a place, the ambience can
enhance the dating experience.
Can affect the dating experience. However, I'm also still open to find ways creatively to still perhaps try to get the same amount of experience and fun, but just brainstorm more.
Any example?
I mean, the first thing, it's very cliche, but the first thing in my mind is that I really do enjoy the beach and the sunset and, the waves. I mean, I have a poem that I write about waves that actually birthed out of going to the beach many times. So to me, that's free lah. And
so this is a tip for your future suitors.
And this is what happens, that maybe what? Okay, I got caught off guard, okay? Yeah, I did. I got caught off guard. Well, okay, it's a tip, but perhaps maybe if all of them asking me how to go to the beach, I might feel like, okay, that's enough, like beach time for the month. Kite flying is quite fun for me too. Now I'm thinking, I'm sharing now, it's going to be so crowded.
You'll be overcrowded now.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say which beach that I usually go, but I do have a favorite beach.
Okay.
So these are ways that I think that I can make a date more affordable even in times of inflation. I would think about perhaps what is the entertainment value of going to a movie and reading a book. And even really like on a very lean budget for that month, I probably would choose reading a book than going for a movie.
Yeah, I know you as the queen of budgeting.
Queen of budgeting because I have many challenges, so I get home that budgeting thing and became a queen of budgeting, more like a queen of survival, And survival is no longer a reality series for me, reality show for me, but it's been my life. In the times of like COVID, I also have like my own challenges, and sometimes I do take a mental health break, and then those are the times that I might be earning a bit lesser. So and then I'll do budgeting. So yeah, she's right. I've been doing very lean budgeting before even this inflation, but now it's another challenge to up my budgeting skills.
True. Yeah, speaking about budgeting, I talked about decluttering the last episode. So about 1-2 years ago, I actually did a financial decluttering. I looked through my subscriptions, my credit card expenses, and I kind of trimmed away the fat, and then went for a leaner lifestyle. And that also applies all these years or so. My holidays have been rather budget, like the flights, the hotels are not the top end ones. Sometimes it's not about just hitting certain sightseeing milestones, even though that's fun too. But sometimes it's just about relaxing and slowing down from the hustle and bustle of city life.
I'm kind of smiling because I've gone on traveling with her before, and when she says slow, it's really slow. I don't know, maybe I'm a very Singapore is a city state, and I would think that I'm very city, so when I go on holiday with her, the slow was really slow. But yeah, it's true, it's relaxing.
If one is really on a budget, there are many ways to cut down on the expenses yet still go for that holiday.
The benefit of being slow is that literally slow means less activities and meaning less expenses. can take a very long time to get one place to another and only have that one admission fee, and that's what happens in being slow.
There are times to be fast. There are also times I think for me, the definition of a holiday is to slow down. That's why.
I'm hoping that the inflation is also going to be slowed down.
Definitely, I think all of us will heave a sigh of relief if the inflation slows down.
After we have spoken about inflation and mental health today, I can see why would people start working more, and there's a real temptation to overwork. But I'd like to suggest to really pay attention to your mental health. Not only mental health but physical health as well. Because if you are unwell or burnt out, we might not be as productive as we wish to be. And even if we have more job or more work, we can't do them.
Health affects work and work affects health, so it works both ways.
If you have watched this podcast until this point, I want to say thank you. And if you have any anxieties of the uncertainties of future and inflation, I hope that our conversations make you feel that you are not alone.
And please note that what we have shared does not constitute medical advice. So if you need professional help, do go for it. Or if it's an emergency, please visit the local hospital.
If you like our podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.
I feel fine?
Really? Thank you for watching.
I feel fine?
Really? I choke.